Blake Shelton's appearance on Today with Jenna and Friends was supposed to be a light-hearted guest spot, promoting his latest music and cracking jokes with the co-hosts. But things took a turn no one expected when a seemingly innocent conversation quickly spiraled into a heated confrontation. The episode started off smoothly enough. Jenna Bush Hager welcomed Blake with her trademark charm, laughing about his laid-back style and teasing him about his cowboy boots. The audience chuckled as the two exchanged playful banter, but when the subject shifted toward social values and celebrity influence, the energy in the room changed. Jenna posed a question about country stars using their platform to address political or social issues, referencing some recent public statements Blake had made about staying out of drama. While her tone was calm, Blake seemed to take offense, responding sharply that he didn't need a national TV host telling him how to use his voice. The mood shifted palpably, and the tension between Blake and Jenna became hard to ignore. Blake, clearly feeling ambushed, leaned forward in his chair and challenged Jenna's assumption, stating that he sang for everyday people, not politicians or activists. Jenna, keeping her composure, clarified that she was simply asking if artists had a responsibility to speak up about injustice, especially when they have millions of followers. Blake interrupted her mid-sentence, saying, "I'm a singer, not a preacher, and I'm sure as hell not going to be lectured on how to do my job." The room got uncomfortably quiet, and even the co-host, sitting next to Jenna, looked startled. Jenna attempted to pivot, trying to bring the tone back to something more lighthearted by asking Blake about his work with fellow voice coaches and his recent wedding with Gwen Stefani. But the damage had already been done. Blake answered curtly and avoided eye contact. The chemistry that once defined his friendly public persona was gone, replaced by an obvious wall between him and the hosts. Audience members whispered to each other while the cameras rolled. As the segment progressed, Jenna tried again to smooth things over, gently pointing out that conversations like these are common in today's media. But Blake, visibly irritated, remarked, "You keep trying to paint me into a corner like I'm some kind of villain just for minding my own business. That's not why I'm here." The tension escalated when Jenna countered that as a public figure, he shouldn't be surprised when people want him to use his influence responsibly. Blake snapped back, "You're a public figure too. Maybe you should think about the way you push your opinions on others." That line struck a nerve. Jenna's eyes widened, and the live studio audience gave a collective gasp. It was clear that what started as a civil discussion had now turned into something personal. A producer was seen walking briskly behind the cameras, clearly debating whether to cut the segment early. The energy in the room was electric, but not in a good way. This was no longer just a celebrity interview. It was a full-blown confrontation. The tension reached a boiling point when Jenna, with a measured but firm tone, asked Blake if he thought choosing silence on issues like racism and inequality was actually a form of complicity. Blake stood up mid-conversation and replied, "You're twisting my words now. I'm done with this." He took off his mic, prompting audible gasps from both the audience and the crew. Jenna tried to salvage the moment, urging him to stay and clarify his thoughts. "This isn't a fight," she said. "It's a conversation." But Blake wasn't having it. "No, it's an ambush," he said as he stepped off the stage, pushing aside the curtain behind the set. The live feed awkwardly cut to a commercial, leaving viewers at home stunned. Backstage, sources reported that Blake exchanged words with production staff, demanding to know why the interview turned into what he called a public shaming. His team was visibly frustrated, and producers were scrambling to figure out what to air for the rest of the segment. The fallout from Blake's walkout was immediate. Social media exploded with clips of the confrontation and hashtags like Blake walks off, and Today's Show drama began trending within the hour. Fans were divided. Some praised Blake for standing his ground and refusing to be cornered into political discourse. Others accused him of being dismissive and arrogant, claiming he should have stayed and defended his views if he believed in them so strongly. Jenna, on her end, received both praise and criticism. Supporters commended her for handling the situation gracefully and for asking the kinds of questions that mattered. Detractors, however, said she pushed too hard and should have respected the boundaries of a guest who came to talk music, not politics. The producers released a brief statement later that afternoon, saying the show encourages open and respectful dialogue and that all guests are informed of the potential discussion topics ahead of time. Still, It was clear the show hadn't anticipated just how explosive the interaction would become. In the days that followed, both Jenna and Blake remained mostly silent. Blake's team issued a carefully worded statement saying Mr. Shelton believes in respectful discussions, but was caught off guard by the tone and direction of the interview. Jenna, meanwhile, opened the next episode of Today with Jenna and Friends by acknowledging the incident, but didn't apologize. "Conversations get uncomfortable," she said, "but discomfort is often where truth begins." Her co-host nodded solemnly, and they moved on to the day's lighter topics. Media outlets from all sides began analyzing the moment. Some called it a turning point in celebrity interviewsome moment, where entertainment collided head-on with accountability. Others saw it as a cautionary tale for talk shows: stick to fluff or risk losing your guests mid-broadcast. Industry insiders whispered that producers had quietly reconsidered future guest lineups, afraid that similar confrontations could scare away potential stars. The entire episode sparked a larger debate about the role of celebrities in political discourse. Is it fair to expect entertainers to also be activists, or is it enough for them to focus on their craft? Blake has always been a symbol of Americana, his music reflecting rural values and small-town pride. To many, his refusal to engage in heated political conversations is part of his charm. But to others, especially in today's climate, that silence feels like a missed opportunity, or worse, a quiet endorsement of the status quo. Jenna, as a host with deep political lineage, has often navigated the intersection of pop culture and public discourse. Her supporters argue that she asked the kinds of questions any responsible journalist would, but critics say she crossed a line and failed to read the room. Regardless of where one stands, it was evident that the interview had touched a nerve, not just with those in the studio, but across the broader public. Eventually, rumors began circulating that Blake had been quietly banned from returning to the show, at least for the foreseeable future. While neither party confirmed this, the silence was telling. Other celebrities reportedly expressed concern about appearing on the show after watching how quickly the tone could shift. Meanwhile, Blake returned to touring and promoting his music on platforms that promised no politics, just fun. Jenna, for her part, remained steady in her hosting duties, choosing not to revisit the topic unless pressed. During an interview, weeks later, when asked about the incident, she simply said, "Every conversation teaches you something, some more than others." Her response was vague, but firm. She wasn't backing down from her line of questioning, nor was she going to rehash the drama. The network, perhaps eager to move past the headlines, also remained silent, choosing to let the moment fade from news cycles over time. Despite efforts to move on, the moment between Blake and Jenna became one of the most replayed segments of the year. It was featured in year-end recaps and top TV moments lists. Public interest remained high, with fans dissecting body language, vocal tones, and even off-mic reactions captured by studio cameras. Some independent journalists even released think pieces titled "When Country Meets Conflict," or "The Silence of Stars." For Blake, the confrontation may have been an unwanted detour in his promotional schedule. But for others, it became a case study in celebrity responsibility. His fan base largely stood by him, but even within that group, some questioned whether walking off was the best way to handle the heat. As for Jenna, the incident cemented her place as a host, unafraid to ask the hard questions, even when it risked making her unpopular with big-name guests. In the end, the interview left a mark on both their careers. For Blake Shelton, it served as a reminder that fame no longer offers the comfort of neutrality. For Jenna Bush Hager, it was proof that even morning TV, once considered safe and apolitical, could become a battleground for cultural tension. The clash didn't destroy either of them, but it changed how audiences viewed them. Interviews became more scrutinized, guests became more cautious, and morning shows, usually filled with laughter and lifestyle tips, began facing pressure to either embrace the seriousness of the times or risk being labeled tone-deaf. Whether Blake and Jenna ever speak again remains uncertain. But what's clear is that one uncomfortable moment on live TV can echo far beyond the studio. It can challenge loyalties, provoke thought, and force both celebrities and viewers to ask where the line really lies between performance and principle.